Heartbreaker of a game, 3-2, thanks to a Dustin May quality start. Absolutely ridiculous seeing our old friend Dustin May on the mound for the Cardinals. Not having a good year by any means, but pitching 6 innings, only 1 earned run. I believe only 75 pitches, just absolutely ridiculous. I was a bit surprised when they went to the bullpen, and honestly, once they did, it was over. I'm Nick the Voice, subtitled Sick the Voice. I'm fighting off a head cold, so I apologize if my throat gives out on me at any point during the show. I'm joined by Doug Aitchison and Charlie Smith, and we are the Bastards of Boston. If you want written articles, you can go to bastardsofbostonbaseball.com for more. So let's kick off this really ugly game. This was a weird one because there was a lot of fun stuff that happened, but overall not the result we wanted. But let's kick it off with Connelly Early. Doug, what'd you see out there?
Yeah, I think maybe the one positive out of the game was Connelly Early looked good again. It's another good outing. He Sedan, I thought, could have caught that ball, and I don't know, was it the second maybe that he let up his first run with, and but he's a rookie and he's still fighting through things. He's still figuring a lot of things out, and he's not getting through any clean innings. He's not going 1, 2, 3 with these guys, but he's finding himself in trouble and he's finding big strikeouts. What did he have tonight? He had 5 in 4 and a third. He had 5 Ks, and it seemed like they all came in a big spot. He was getting big swing and misses, and he went into the 5th, throwing 80 plus. And from a rookie, I mean, what more can you ask for, really? You're not gonna go out there and think a rookie's just gonna throw you a shutout every time. You have to support a rookie, which of course we're not gonna do. But Connelly went out there and did his job again, and I think it's good for the future for him, and it's a good outlook that the pitching at least is maybe starting to come around a little bit. The starting pitching at least.
So we recently talked about the fact that, in order to have like an elite one, and Dougie, it was you, me, and Chris together, and we're talking about, okay, what's your take on, just Sonny Gray really project as a 2? And yeah, I mean, if you can go 6 innings, that's great. He's averaging after 3 starts less than 5 innings per. So you can't even qualify for the win if you don't get 5 innings. What else does that mean? It means your bullpen's going to get taxed. You got players like Greg Weissert out there who's going for the 50-50 club, meaning he wants to play in half the games, or he ends up getting called, or his name's called half the time this year. Connelly Early did decent in his first game, went 5+, struck out 6, did not do so well in the second start, did okay, if okay is good enough, but that shouldn't be the standard. If this is your 5 guy, okay, great. You're just knowing that every 5th game, your bullpen's going to get really taxed. Why I'm not really content is St. Louis is not a team that you have to be worried about. Your starter should not struggle against the Cardinals. And there are no players there that really intimidate you or should scare you. They're gone. This is a throwaway season. You should not lose to St. Louis, and you found a way to do the possible. And you already talked about Dustin May, and Dustin May has gotten absolutely destroyed this year. It is the most Boston Red Sox thing ever to lose to a former pitcher that you used to have. And not only did he do okay, he got the quality start, as you mentioned, Nick. And I'm just left without words. I mean, I have no words. He was still a little bit wild, hit a batter, but still was able to do decent enough to get his win. And watch, his next start, he'll probably allow 8 runs. But here we are. Yeah, great job.
Yeah, and I agree with Jules in the comments. I would have kept him in. I would have kept him in that. I saw him. I knew it too. When I saw him come out for that for the next inning, I knew he's going to get through one guy and they're going to take him out. They love doing that, and they should have just gave him the inning and, let him get into more trouble, and then, then maybe think about taking him out. But, He still looked good. He got through that first batter, no problem, fly out, and I agree. I would have kept him in for sure.
Yeah, 86 pitches on the night for Early, and it's kind of a bad like box score type of look, I guess, 4.1 innings pitched, but I agree with you guys. I thought that he did pretty well out there, especially I've been enjoying watching the sort of 3D like pitch strike zones, right? Where it shows sort of the spray chart essentially for where all of the pitches locate. And so far Early has kind of been struggling a little bit with control. That's been his problem where there's a lot of wasted pitches, a lot of balls in the dirt. But comparing the picture from the San Diego start to tonight, it seemed like the control was better, and it's definitely trending in the right direction. And aside from that, you had a lot of big whiffs. Like you said, Doug, big strikeouts. Early really got himself into a couple of jams this game. You alluded to, I think it was that second inning, it might have been the third, where Ceddanne Rafaela went back and a double right off his glove. Yeah, it was the second, Ramon Urias. It was absolutely devastating to watch. But in real time, it was a very well struck ball, and it's very possible that other center fielders maybe don't get there. But it's just another in Ceddanne's sort of bumpy ride, another notch in his belt to start the year. But back to Early, he had a lot of whiffs tonight. And that's the type of thing that I think is really going to make him deadly. It's interesting. If you look at the sort of breakdown of his stuff tonight, he threw 6 different types of pitches, which is really fun to see.
Wow.
And versus left, he's really hammered them with a sinker sweeper combo. And the sweeper, I thought, just from the eye test, was really deadly looking. I thought that was really tripping the Cardinals lineup up. And the Cardinals, not a very good team, arguably not even a good team, but they've got hitters, They've got guys who can do damage. And I thought that Early did a pretty good job at keeping a cool head and ultimately working with the defense behind him. He wasn't trying to do too much. He wasn't serving up meatballs center plate like Dustin May was. It seems like even though Early technically lost the duel tonight, which is really frustrating to say, he really did pitch more with more potential, I guess. But unfortunately, it's not enough, right? When you only score 2 runs on the night, one of them kind of being manufactured, which we'll talk about, there's only so much you can do. And unfortunately, that ends up in a formula for a 1-run loss. Charlie, you want to kick us off for the offense?
Yeah. We got a double and 4 singles, and that's it. Back to you. No, I'm joking. But I mean, here's the thing. Again, I really want to stress this. You came into this game, Dustin May had an ERA almost at 16, almost allowing 2 runs per inning. That's how good he's doing this year. You couldn't even, like, he was that good against you? Like, we really didn't have his number? I get it, like, he only was with us for like a short while. But all you have to do is be patient with somebody who can't control his pitches. Eventually, you should be able to get on base. The fact that you only had 1 extra base hit in a 9-inning, you had 5 hits, and you're 1 through 4, you only had 1 hit. So if you have to look at it, I'm pretty sure it was only 1 hit, and it was Yoshida who had it. Yeah, Duran 0 for 4, Durbin 0 for 3, Contreras 0 for 4, struck out twice. Had a nice fly out, with runners at the corners against Romero, but that wasn't enough to get it done. I mean, the Yoshida strikeout looking was just terrible. Like, what that tells me, and we said it right before the show started, is you have a 3-1 count. I get thinking about taking a pitch as a fastball across, then a slider that just stunned him up and in. Apologize, my dog is barking in the background. My problem is that with a 3-2 count, you have got to defend the plate. You have to protect that plate. And if you're not going to do that and you're going to go down looking that way, you put added pressure onto the batter that's going to go on right after you. You've got to figure out how to get a run. Ceddanne snuck in underneath that tag when he advanced on the fly out to like left center field. I'm not going to lie. That made me nervous from like a advanced standpoint. But you're not able to generate any offense. You have to take a chance at this point. And it sucks because I'm pretty sure I'd be sitting here saying, why did you take that? Why did you do that? If you're down by, a run here, why would you risk it? but you're not getting anything else working here. And, you know, as far as the offense is concerned, you were just talking about it just a moment ago. You scored one run on offense. The other run that you scored was because you managed a double steal. You took advantage of poor IQ in the field. As soon as that ball got thrown down there, if you're the fielder, whether you're second or short, go run and tag that runner. He was right there. He was 4 feet away. If you tag him before Trevor Story scores, the inning is over. The run doesn't score, and that's it. Full stop. Done. So they were able to take advantage and score a run based on poor IQ in the field. So congratulations. I really don't think you can hold your head up high because you still only scored one run against a pretty bad team. Here's the worst part. They've won twice as many games now as you have. You're 4-9. You're tied for one of the worst records in baseball with, I think, Seattle. I think they're also 4-9. And the Cardinals are 8-5 now. That's nuts. Nobody had St. Louis winning the Central. I'm pretty sure. I have to go back and double check, but I'm pretty sure no one had St. Louis there. I'm pretty sure I had the Mariners winning the AL West. So I'm looking pretty dumb right now. I didn't have the Red Sox going to the playoffs. So I'm like many people that are baseball fans. This is just tough, man. You cannot, people are going to say, oh, well, you scored 6 runs or more in back-to-back games with Milwaukee. Yeah, I'm expecting you to score 5 to 6 runs if you're trying to win. You scored 2 runs against a team that's not that good. You scored 2 runs against a player who used to play on your team. You've got to do better than that. And Durbin continues to be a black hole. I have zero understanding why he's batting second. I don't understand it. He is not the answer, folks. And at this point, anybody who wanted him or was really excited about that, you're going to continue taking L's on this one because that trade looks worse and worse every game. Every single time he comes out, 0 for 3 with a strikeout. The guy doesn't strike out. Okay, he only struck out once. He also didn't score any, he didn't get any hits. He didn't score any runs. There was only 2 to be had. He did get on base because he got hit in the shoulder, but are we really going to are we going to celebrate a hit batsman for offense? Like that's crap. So I'm not happy. I'm not thrilled. This is a snooze fest. This reminds me of that movie Major League where they're just like drunk and just passing out and it's just a hot mess. This team is a hot mess right now.
Yeah. Yeah, this game was just a bummer to watch, and Sedan is that guy to be aggressive. If anyone was gonna tag on a ball like that, I would think it would be him. In the Durbin, I know he got hit, but I was screaming at my TV that he wasn't getting pinch hit for in that position with Roman on the bench. I just didn't understand that at all. The guy's trash. And, you're batting him second, and then he doesn't get a hit, and then he comes up in a big spot, and he was lucky he even got on base. All you got to do is throw strikes to him. He's not going to get on base. The guy, luckily, the guy hit him. But, it's just more of the same. It's just more of the same. We're going to come on every night and say the offense sucks, and the offense isn't hitting, and there's no power in the offense, and it's just more of the same every night. This is how it's been going, and tonight was just, again, the same thing. And it felt even worse tonight because it was against a pitcher that we know is horrible. And he still didn't look great. He had the command issues. He was throwing all over the place. His slider wasn't really finding the plate. And the strikes that he did throw, we swung at and hit into ground balls and flyouts or we just swung and missed and made him look good, every kid that's ever played Little League always hears their coach always say the same thing. You're making this guy look like Cy Young out there. They all say that, and that's what we did tonight with Dustin May.
So I want to say one thing too, and this is what really ticks me off, and I swore twice in the last show, and someone was like, wow, someone was in a bad mood. I'm like, how can you be in a happy mood watching this product? Like, how do you get excited? How do you lose to this lineup? Weatherhold, 0 for 3, hitting 229 now. Ivan Herrera, I have him on my fantasy team. 1 for 4, 3 strikeouts, hitting 200. Alec Burleson, 0 for 5, 245. For those keeping track, that's 1 for 12 right now with 5 punch-outs. Then you got Jordan Walker, who somehow found God, and now he's hitting the ball. He's hitting 313. Then you got Urias, 261. I think it's Mason Wynn, 154. I think it's Tom Sajaci, 258. Fermin hitting 200. Yuck. Church, 156. Pajes, 192. And then Victor Scott, 278. You have 3 guys there hitting under 200. You only have 2 guys in your lineup that are clearly above 250. And you lost to that team. And Dustin May. So say what you want to say, but sucks is fair. You should be able to beat that lineup. And that's pretty bad. That's pretty ugly. It's disgusting. You've said it before. It's infuriating to watch. You should be able to shove against teams like this. They should not be 8-5 with that many 100s and 200 batting averages. It's inexcusable. And then you put it against our team, you have a 103 from Durbin, a 140 from Trevor Story, 182 from Marcelo Meyer, Narvaez hitting 207. You got Willie Abreu hitting 392, Yoshida down to 263, but has a 500 OBP. And you have Cedar Rafaela hitting 324. Duran, 162. You have 4 guys in your lineup hitting 100, under 200, and one who's just barely over it at 207. That sucks. That's absolute garbage.
Yeah, I mean, it's frustrating. This team is struggling like we knew it would, right? This offense is doing exactly like it's performing just like we thought. These guys are just not producing runs like a major league team needs to produce runs. And it's hardly even their fault. I mean, it's ridiculous. There's an approach issue, obviously. I have never seen a team simultaneously swing at everything outside of the zone while staring at balls right down the center of the plate. That's been absolutely bizarre to me, watching some of these at-bats.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. You're either disciplined or your power, right? Those are sort of the 2 options for me. You either swing at everything and hit bombs,
right,
or, you work your walks, play a little small ball. We're somehow doing neither.
Right. Against Dustin May. You got
right.
no walks against Dustin May. The red-haired cyclone who can't find the strike zone. You couldn't get 1 walk.
Yeah.
Just let that sink in for a second.
It's ridiculous. You're absolutely right. It's, there were some good, well hit balls tonight. Rafaela had a nice double. He's sort of having a weird inverse start to his season where he's a bat first, glove last kind of guy, strangely enough, just like everyone predicted. Obviously, I imagine that'll normalize. But, Durbin batting second is emblematic of the problem that I think Alex Cora has with managing the Red Sox, where he's very married to his traditions in a lot of ways. He refuses to have 2 lefties bat next to each other in the lineup. And so we're wasting the 2-hole on Durbin because in Cora's mind, Yoshida can't bat there. Abreu can't bat there because Duran is batting leadoff.
Why not?
You have to alternate lefty righty in Alex Cora's mind.
Okay, Duran's hitting a $162,
yeah.
and he couldn't hit I love Jason's expression. You couldn't hit the side of a battleship hitting 162. Great. He's really fast. I love Jarren Duran. But right now it's not clicking. It's not working. Your on base percentage is lower than some of your team's batting averages. So have Abreu bat first. It sucks, but he's hitting 392. Give him the opportunity of 1 extra at bat. Why is he not getting 1 extra at bat? I mean, okay, great. Well, Abreu might hit a solo home run. Guess what? That's a run. You need runs.
Well, and it gets even worse when you really think about it, because managing the lineup in this way from a theoretical perspective, it's supposed to sort of prevent you from getting a lefty specialist come out of the pen. It's supposed to break that up discourage it. But what's odd about that is that later in the game, you pointed out Yoshida's really ugly strikeout, where Yoshida was fairly productive earlier in the game. But then Jojo Romero comes in, has that ugly strikeout in a big moment. And that doesn't make any sense to me because Jojo Romero is a lefty guy. He's been a very good left-handed reliever for several years. Masataka Yoshida is 32 years old. He doesn't know how to hit lefties, and he's not going to learn, especially not in a live game suddenly. You have Monasterio on the bench, who is supposed to be your lefty specialist, right? But you also have Roman Anthony, who is possibly one of the most physically gifted hitters, just from a talent perspective, on the bench. Alex Cora said because he had to maximize the roster. That was his wording. He has to put Yoshida and Duran in the game to get them playing time. And because of that, Anthony's not even going to pinch hit when Yoshida is in an unfavorable matchup later in the game? It doesn't make any sense. You either load up to maximize your runs early on against the starting pitcher, knowing, well, I can pinch hit later on, if a lefty specialist comes in, or you alternate because you think, well, I'm never pinch hitting, right? I need to make sure that this lineup is bullpen proof. We somehow did neither, and we ended up scoring 2 runs, and it really wasn't close because, as you pointed out, one of those runs was manufactured. That awesome double steal, one of the most conniving, intriguing base running plays that I think I've seen the Sox make in years. Someone on Twitter pointed out, Duran's straight steal of home last year, but that was more like athletically impressive, whereas this was more tactically impressive, I guess.
100%. Absolutely.
I know what you mean.
Forcing an error like that is really cool. When I saw it, and I bet every Red Sox fan is with me, when I saw it with how our base running has always been, I went, Meyer, what are you doing?
Yeah.
This is ridiculous, terrible steal. You're running into an out. And then as soon as the camera panned to home plate, it blew my mind. That was the highlight of a very highlight drought, a highlight deprived game for the Boston Red Sox. 5 hits, no walks, like you said. Ultimately 1 for 6 with runners in scoring position, 1 extra base hit, and just not nearly enough production from the top of the lineup. Really no production from the top of the lineup. And it's a recipe for failure, a 3-2 loss. You can really say that the pitching staff did its job by holding the enemy team to 3 runs. The offense needs to step up. But with that being said, let's talk about the pitcher who got tagged with the loss, right? It's Zach Kelly. Let's talk about the wonderful world of Red Sox middle relief, which I understand you can argue that it's a good problem to have if the 5th guy on your depth chart in terms of like the pitching link chain is the weak link, right? If the 5th option, because obviously you have Chapman you trust, you have Whitlock you trust, Slayton, we'll see once he gets a little healthier and starts pitching in higher leverage situations again this year. But I mean, Greg Weissert, I liked him last year, loved him in the World Baseball Classic. He's struggled this year. Weissert and Moran, though, I liked what I saw, even though Moran was bumpy. But let's talk about Samaniago and Zach Kelly. Early gets pulled. They bring in Zach Kelly to face, I believe it was Jordan Walker. And Jordan Walker absolutely demolishes the baseball. It's not even close. What was it? Let me see. It was in the 5th inning, of course. And pardon me while I just scroll here. I just pressed the wrong button.
He ripped a single. He ripped a single in the left. It was a sinker. It was
Yep.
a little bit. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
An expected batting average of 1,000.
And ripped it in the gap.
That's amazing, and then, a walk, another single expected batting average of 500, a sac fly that had an expected batting average of 290, finally a fly out, pretty good fly out to end the game, or end the inning rather.
Yeah.
But Zach Kelly came in and does what middle relief does on this team. It seems like our guys are just addicted to bad performances. And obviously you can say, well, if you're in a position where you need to see all 4 of your middle relievers, like we did today, some of them are going to have a bad game. And that's valid, but it goes to show how this team is like I said last show I was on, the antithesis of firing on all cylinders It's something different every single game. And last year, the whole year, it was the story of one-run losses. This year, I don't see why it's going to be any different.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think we said before, like, everyone sees that the middle relief is the worst part of our team, and we keep having to go to it because our starters aren't going deep enough, and it's just killing us. And that's why I would have liked to see them stick with Early. It's like, what's the worst that could happen? You're bringing Zach Kelly. Is it going to, like, and I think I said last time I was on too, Zach Kelly's just a flip of a coin at this point. Like, he looked all right in his last outing, you know what I mean? But you're not bringing him out with any confidence, and a flip of a coin's 50-50, which is probably even better than what the confidence I have in him. But it's just, the middle relief is just a problem. And Weiser comes out and, he'll have some good outings, but you still never feel good really when he's coming out. And we just have to trust our starters a little bit more, I think. And, maybe let him go 90 plus, and not pull him before 90. He's a young kid. I think he can do it. And, I agree. And it's just like, it's just sometimes I think in the last couple games in our last series, Cora made some good moves, and it looked like, maybe he's into it, maybe. And then it's just like, nah. And then today, he has another game where it's just like, I don't know what he's doing. It's just heads in the clouds, not making any moves, and it's tough. Today was just an ugly watch.
So you bring in a guy who's pitched 3 innings now in the year. He's got 1 strikeout, didn't get any strikeouts today. He's not scaring anybody. You've literally allowed other teams to see just, you exposed yourself. You're a fraud. Your bullpens are, your bullpen is full of frauds. And it's not like they invested in a lot of guys that are 22, 23 and took flyers on. Like Colombe is 36. Kelly's 31, 32. Aroldis Chapman is, 38 now? I don't even know how old he is. And then you got, Whitlock, who's unfortunately had a couple years of bad luck with being injured. And thankfully, they haven't brought him into the rotation. But you can't count on Garrett Whitlock and Chapman to save your ass every single time it's a close game. The Boston Red Sox are once again going to find themselves with a lot of one-run games. Just like last year, we had the most one-run losses. It was like against the Milwaukee series where it was a bunch of one-run games and we were just getting rocked. And we would never come back. We just lose them. Or the extra inning games, we're losing those games by a run, obviously, because we can't score and then the other team wins. This is going to be a lot of that. You might have some starters that can get you there and give you 5-6 innings and allow 1 or 2 runs. Connelly really hasn't gotten shelled every game. He is, however, getting no run support. He's also not going 5 innings and he can't get you a win because if you don't pitch 5, you don't get a dub. Different for relievers. They can come in any situation. It's the rules of engagement rules don't apply. But it's really frustrating. This is a bullpen that, if you're a 4-game set, you're seeing Weiser twice. If it's a 3-game set, you're probably still seeing him twice. And you're gonna see the other puppets come out to play. And, this is, year in and year out, because your starters can't go the distance, you have an incredibly taxed bullpen. Zach Kelly has come out 3 years in a row now. He's not young. He's not getting any better either. And honestly, I think if you look at his numbers, Zach Kelly rarely pitched last year. I have to look at it. Yeah, 2024, 49 games, 3.97 ERA. Struck out 61 guys in 56 games. Following year, last year, 28 games, 1-3 record, ERA almost 4.6, 35 punch-outs in 35 innings. This year now, 1 strikeout and 3 1/3, ERA north of 8. You're not fooling anybody. It's kind of like you're just praying that they don't allow more runs. That's your bullpen because you didn't invest in it. Like you didn't invest in your offense. So, Jeremy once said this where, this is my answer, but I reserve my right to change my opinion. I'm upset at myself. I manipulated myself into thinking that we're going to win 80 games this year. This bullpen isn't capable of holding a lead down. You're up 2-1 and you found a way to choke it away. That's going to happen a lot more this season. You're going to see these 2-run leads or 1-0 leads or 3-2 leads. And I say 3-2, 2-1, 1-0 because you can't score any damn runs. You just can't. And you definitely can't do that if you don't draw walks and you don't get extra base hits.
Yeah, looking at the St. Louis box score, it's frustrating to see the blueprint, right, that we want to mimic, right? It's a perfectly lettered pitching staff. Dustin May goes 6 innings with the win, Stanek and Romero get holds, and then O'Brien gets the save. Every single pitcher went out there and did their job at the end of the day. And Romero and O'Brien are good pitchers, granted. Stanek and May really aren't. It's just unacceptable to, between the two of them, go 7 innings, only getting 4 base runners, 4 hits rather. Absolutely ridiculous. And no walks, as we've said. It's maddening because this team just can't rally. And how embarrassing is it going to be if Chaim Bloom, who they showed on the broadcast tonight, I think the graphic said old friend Chaim Bloom. I said, he's no friend of mine. I don't know I don't know this guy, but how embarrassing is it if this dude turns the Cardinals around before the Red Sox can capitalize on what's supposed to be their window?
Yeah, he very well might at this point. I mean,
that's going to hurt.
Yeah,
that's going to hurt. I mean, this is pre Dougie and pre Nick. We torched Chaim Bloom. We destroyed Bloom for years.
Yeah.
And there was very little wiggle room to give him a pass because it was, you don't want to let your toys leave your sandbox. You don't like to share. You're unwilling to add players at the deadline. You're unwilling to, meaningful players, because let's be honest, he did do a great job of loading up your farm system, but we didn't do anything with the farm system. Nothing happened. It wasn't exciting. It's right. What's the point of having a Ferrari if you keep it in the garage? And not to say that our prospects are Ferraris, but still, it's what the hell are you doing? Dave Dombrowski is the only person that has a brass set and will actually do what needs to be done. Whereas Chaim Bloom was afraid to make moves. And I think that was his one thing. He was afraid to take a chance and miss. Whereas Craig Breslow is shooting every shot and he's missing every shot. It feels like he's only made one decision, but I don't give Breslow credit for the Garrett Crochet addition trade. I don't give you credit for that. You had an arsenal in your minor farm system. There was no way you couldn't get that job done. Borderline inexcusable, and you should have been fired if you didn't get that job done. But Bloom's going to be laughing at us because it's already happening. We're 4-9, guys. Bloom is sitting 8-5. And I know we still have another 150 plus games to go here, depending on your, 150 or so, 8-5, 13, 149 games. We're 4-9 now. Same thing, 149 games. And sure, we could rip off a crazy win streak. But the fact of the matter is, you have crap ownership. You have a manager who has literally openly said fans have earned the right to say what they're saying about your team, which I don't think is something that he's going to want to hear. But facts are facts, dude. You're 4-9. You guys blow. And Breslow's going to eventually get fired. There's no way he's going to be able to save face. You can't turn this. You can't turn it around. We're already getting laughed at. Chaim Bloom already is looking like the better GM here. And at this point, you have to say we were wrong, or I was wrong. You guys weren't here, so you don't have to say anything. But
yeah, I was very much saying it in my personal life, though. So
I'm sure when you were meeting the Red Sox and the Celtics and all the Bruins and Tom Brady and exactly.
No, there's a comment here that I'd like to highlight, which is very true, from YouMama1777. We traded for the wrong Cardinals.
Damn right.
It seems like that is a theme in this recent Red Sox history. Brendan Donovan is tearing it up for the Seattle Mariners. I know our staff was sort of split on the idea of a Donovan, acquisition, but I think that probably a lot of that was because we were comparing Donovan to other players like Alex Bregman, obviously, or Ketel Marte, rather than Caleb Durbin, which, you know, if you had to choose between the two, especially with the power of hindsight, I think it's clear. But it's so funny because I'm thinking to myself, Chaim Bloom is up in the box watching Marcelo Meyer, right, really play some good baseball. He's still making a pretty strong case for himself, making good contact at the plate, great defense. His exit velocity this year actually is really good. He's barreling the ball a lot to start the season. And, you know, Marcelo Meyer was like the Chaim Bloom pick for me. You know, that was sort of in my mind, right? Because that was that sort of the fruit that we were able to bear from the terrible 2020 season. We got such a high draft pick, got Marcelo Meyer, and a lot of people said that he probably, with his talent, should have been the first overall pick in that draft. I forget who was, but he dropped to 4, if I recall correctly. So it's just embarrassing how Chaim Bloom gets to sit up there and watch the players that he was responsible for, you know, in the Red Sox system, perform well, you know, and climb the rankings and whatnot. And now he's over in St. Louis doing a very similar thing. And who knows? Maybe he's a better GM than we gave him credit for. Maybe he was sort of handcuffed. I think I saw someone in the chat say that, use that term. I apologize for missing your name, but it's very possible that he was handcuffed by ownership here. Maybe the same thing goes for Breslow. Maybe this is really just the rot begins at the top. And, you know, when you have a captain of a ship that doesn't know where he's going, no one beneath him is going to know where he's going. It's very possible that this all goes to John Henry and ownership and Kennedy, and you can blame everyone. But at the end of the day, it's going to be a different name. And I don't think that, you know, you're wrong. Some days you're going to blame Alex Cora. Some days it's going to be Fatsy. Some days it's going to be Breslow. Sometimes it's going to be Henry. And, you know, some days you can even go back and blame Chaim Bloom if you feel like it. And honestly, it's hard to argue against any of those picks. We've just had a lot of bad leaders in this organization. And it is a shame because, like I keep saying, I love the players. I love so many guys on this roster, not just the 26, but the 40 and in the system too. I saw Witherspoon have a great game down in AAA, but it doesn't bode well for the future when you sort of see history repeating itself and the same mistakes are made over and over again, year in and year out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Anything else you guys would like to talk about?
Yeah, if you're watching on paper, one of the teams that no one really thought was going to be relevant defy the odds and do the best that they could with a lot less of a team than you're actually doing. You've spent, you're one of the top 10 spenders in Major League Baseball, and you are, statistically speaking, the worst team in baseball, which is really, really hard. What else do you want to know? I was actually curious to see just how many teams in the American League are at 500 or better. There are 5 total teams at 500. The Los Angeles Angels, shocker. Minnesota Twins, also 500. Cleveland is 2 games over. The Texas Rangers are also 2 games over. The Yankees are 3 games over, and they've lost 3 in a row. You only have 3 games, or 3 teams, that are above 500 in the American League. This is a really flawed division, and you get to, sadly, be at the bottom of that totem pole. I mean, it's just unbelievable. You've scored the 4th least amount of runs. You have one of the worst run differentials in the American League. I mean, this is going to be a very exciting season for all the wrong reasons if we don't figure it the bleep out.
Yeah, heads are going to start to roll soon.
I agree. I mean, how long can ownership ignore this? We're going to see, because the Boston Red Sox, I heard we're getting a little lucky with the pitching matchups, especially against the Twins series that's coming up following the Cardinals. I mean, but how much luckier can you get than Dustin May and Walker Buehler? You know, you get to face both of those guys. And I believe we lost the Buehler start as well, right? I don't recall.
I can't remember.
Was he the first?
I think he was the third game in that series.
And then we won game 2 and 3, right?
No, we didn't win a series against the Padres. We only won the one game.
Oh, right, because he was with the Padres.
We did lose this game.
Right,
so,
yeah, we did. Yeah, because it was the Sunday. It was the Sunday game.
Yep, that's right.
It was the Sunday
Padres. It wound.
Yeah,
right.
We did smack Buehler around for 4 runs, but we did lose the game ultimately.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying is how much luckier can you get than facing those two guys? Theoretically, batting practice, especially for a team that kind of has a chip on its shoulder when it comes to facing those guys, obviously for their stints. I made a tweet before with Dustin May. I said, man, I can't believe we let this stud walk out the door. We should see about trading for him midseason. It's ridiculous how many guys we let walk out the door. And certainly Dustin May isn't one of them if I'm speaking seriously, but that you sort of wish that you could go back on, whether it's some of the prospects that are coming up in now other systems. Obviously we know Breslow went back to Chicago and said, hey, how about Kyle Teal, which was embarrassing. I mean, it's like drunk calling your ex-girlfriend. It's ridiculous.
Don't do that. Man. Don't do that.
No, definitely. And
just don't do it.
I'm going to have to start if Duran and Yoshida and Anthony keep on, swapping because I'm going to be drinking a lot if those guys keep getting benched. No, it's honestly, tough, man.
Here's the other thing too. On paper, one of our comments here has said that we have 190 million spent. The Chicago White Sox have spent over 100 million less than you, and they're doing better. Ouch.
Yeah. The Guardians too, right? The Guardians are like a historically low payroll the past few years, and really for many years, they're 8-6 right now in the standings. They're doing well.
And that's with their superstar Jose Ramirez taking the friendliest team contract ever. I mean, he could have gotten the bag and he was like, no, I'm good. Like 5-125, just pay me. I'm cool. Like that's enough money for me to like live happily. I'm cool. I'm chill. That's not even the lowest. Is it Miami? I think Miami's the lowest spend, right?
Yes.
Or is
I
it?
think I saw Miami has no guaranteed money in 2027. I think I don't believe they have anyone that they can't get out of. Because obviously you can walk away from arbitration. You can offer 0.
Right. So I'm looking at it right now. Well, I know Tampa Bay has nobody on the books for 2028 right now as it stands. They have arbitration eligible players, but after next year, there is nobody on the books. And that, of course, will surely change because you're not going to get lucky and have every single contract over the same year. That's just not happening. But Miami, to your point, they have one contract. Actually, you know what? Excuse me. It's Giancarlo Stanton's money from 2027, 2028. There's nobody on the books in 2027. What a joke, dude. And what's Miami's record right now? Where are they?
They started hot, didn't they? Started 4-1 or something. I haven't seen it since then, but I remember they started 8-6. They started hot. Yeah. I knew that.
Yeah. Well, they're 8-6. We could stop.
They have some good pitching.
They got double the wins.
They have a few good starters,
Yeah, Sandy Alcantara is absolutely insane. He comes out and gets a shutout every game. It's stupid.
Yeah, and that dude
I have nothing else to add.
Back. He needed a bounce back. I know a lot of people were talking about trading for him last year, and you could see why the Marlins were so stingy in that. I thought that, why would you sell a guy like that low, obviously, when his value is going to be at the lowest it's ever been? There's no point. And it's so frustrating. The American League is not strong right now. A lot of teams, as you guys have pointed out, a lot of teams are struggling, especially if you just look at run differential. But the Red Sox are just not poised to capitalize. We've got to go on a serious run here because if we are, still at a 350, let's say a 350 win percentage by the end of the month, 400 even, I think that you're really going to have a conversation about the future of leadership within this organization. But the only problem there is who can you possibly pivot to that isn't just going to be more of the same and possibly even making the situation worse. The worst case scenario is that you take Roman Anthony's prime, Marcelo Meyer's prime, Garrett Crochet's prime, the end of Chapman's 38-year-old prime, and you ruin it. That hurts if you do that. You take one of the most gifted, talented starting rotations on paper that the Red Sox have put together in a long time, even compared to teams like 2018. And if you waste that on a dismal offense that can't get the bats off their shoulders, I mean, it's unacceptable with the amount of money that the Red Sox have, not only in their pockets, but also invested into the team. It's just not cool. So how are we feeling? We got a Saturday start here, a 7:15 game, the second night game, last one of the series. 7:15 Eastern start, Red Sox Cardinals. We've got Ranger Suarez off to a bumpy start versus Kyle Leahy, I think it's pronounced, also off to a bit of a bumpy start, a 5.4 ERA in 2 starts. Last year, it looks like he was actually a relief pitcher. This year, though, 5 innings apiece, a start on average, 10 innings total in 2 starts. It'll be interesting to see. Obviously, when you take a relief pitcher, you throw him into the rotation, you don't really know what to expect from the guy. How are you guys feeling about this matchup? Is Suarez going to bounce back, or are we going to get owned?
Oh yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Suarez has obviously has not been good, but I don't think any of us can sit here and say Suarez is a bad pitcher. So I'm I mean, I wouldn't say that, and I'm waiting for him to turn it around. I'm obviously waiting for the turnaround, and against a team that doesn't have much put much fear into a pitcher maybe in the lineup, and I think Ranger is finding his way a little bit, and I think he'll get back on track tomorrow. I do. And I don't know much about the Cardinals pitcher, like he was saying, he's a reliever and stuff, but I think to win this series, you got to win tomorrow, and hopefully Ranger can be somewhat of a veteran for us and realize that.
I think I got a new nickname for you.
What's that, bud?
Dougie Sunshine, because you are trying so hard to not piss on this parade. You got a guy who's giving you 5 innings back-to-back starts, the Leahy guy, right? Your starter can't even go 5 innings. He's gotten shelled.
Yeah.
Twice. He's not.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing to back me up
now.
here, but
you got a great nickname though. I mean, Dougie Sunshine.
Yeah, that's fine. I like it.
So here's the bad news, as Terry would say, right? And a lot of us are aligned here. Until you can show us that you can do it, I'm not going to believe that you can. And that's really sad to say, because you're only 2 starts in and you're not really showing that you can do it. If you look at Ranger Suarez, 4 1/3, 4 earned on 7 hits, 3 strikeouts, then 4 earned in 4 innings, only 2 strikeouts. So you're averaging a strikeout almost every 2 innings. And you're allowing a run every inning. Your ERA is almost 9. Leahy's ERA, as a former reliever, is better. Like, he actually did better from the first to the second start, and he faced the Mets and he faced the Tigers. Ranger Suarez faced Houston, which, okay, pretty good team, and then the Padres, which got depleted. They've lost some of their bats, and you still got shelled. So, and here's the problem. If Ranger Suarez gives up another 4 runs in the next game, regardless of how many innings, even if he goes 7 innings and allows 4 runs, you still lost the game because you can't score 4 runs. I'm sorry. Dougie Sunshine, I love you, but it's just not going to get it done, buddy.
It's fair. Yeah.
You know what? When it comes to Sunshine, I think it's always sunny in Boston, right? I got to believe in a Ranger Suarez bounce back. I have to. If for no other reason than blind optimism. This is a guy that I freaking love. I mean, I love Ranger Suarez. He's been one of my favorite pitchers to watch for years. I wanted him on this team so bad, and I just have to say to myself, it's just a rough start. It's the late spring training. It's the World Baseball Classic. It's what it is. I don't disagree with you, Charlie. I do agree that, you've got to prove to me that you can get it done. In Philly, he certainly did. In Boston, not so much. Back-to-back, 4.1 innings, 4.0 innings, 4 earned runs apiece. But I have to believe that this team is good enough to bounce back once, because if we lose it, man, I mean, I'm afraid there's no reason to say we're not getting swept in this series, and that's just ejector button time. That's panic mode. That's self-destruct.
Ranger Suarez had the benefit of a really, really nice lineup every single time he was there. It didn't matter who you had on the bench or behind you. You have sexy names. You have players that can all bang. They're all hitting home runs. They're all getting extra base hits. They can steal bases. They play decent defense. I think Trey Turner has one of the prettiest slides I've ever seen. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, this is when he was a Dodger. It was like butter. I mean, it was so smooth. I can watch that on replay all day. Love that play. And he plays the game with such grace. This is like trying to fit a square peg through a circle hole. This is just awful. And Ranger Suarez isn't going to reap the benefits if you're going to try to become a ground ball pitcher, because you're not striking everybody out. You are testing your defense, which is not very good right now. Outside of Marcelo Mayer and Chris Felico would say that he's one of the better defenders, and I'm not going to debate that because he is. You can't make dumb fielding mistakes. If you're not blowing everyone away with strikeouts and you're testing your defense behind you, okay, that's fine. If you want to do that in Philly, have at it. Go have fun. You'll probably score 4, 5, 6, 7 runs in that game anyway. So if you had a crap start, you got 7 runs of support. You test that in Boston, you have a poor fielding day, you're still going to lose by 4 because you can't score runs. So as great as Ranger Suarez was in Philly, he was also able to reap the benefits of having some pretty sweet games where your team is scoring a lot of runs. And if he wasn't getting all those runs, I'm curious to know how many of those games he would have pitched as long, as comfortable as well. Because, I mean, you do have to think psychologically, all right, cool. I got Kyle Schwarber. I got Trey Turner. Nick Castellanos, the shell of his former self. JTL Realmuto's there. Brandon Marsh is there. They have a couple other guys on that team that can also do damage. I have faith that 1 or 2 of those guys are going to go off. I don't really know who's going to go off in this lineup. In the 1 hole, the 2 hole, the 3 hole, you got Casper the Friendly Ghosts. I mean, make it make sense. You can't. No one can justify the current lineup and the amount of times that Jarren Duran has been benched and your Franken lineup every single time. Like, no one can tell me what the lineup is going to look like 3 games in a row. Nobody could do that. And if you did and you got it right, go buy a Powerball ticket because you got some good luck on your side. This team is so inconsistently consistent. I need some Dougie Sunshine right here. Hit me, Doug. Hit me with something good because, I mean, I'm struggling again.
Oh, bud. I mean, but I don't know if I got anything for you this time, bud.
Damn it, Doug.
I like this comment I see here. Barbecues 82-88. If Ranger gives up 4 or 5 runs, we're going to need at least 30 singles. So it's all hands on deck. 3 for 4 from everybody, including a pinch hitter, right? Yep. It is ridiculous. That is the case. I mean, a 5, this team can't rally. You know, I know that this season, somehow we've already had a couple of rallies where the offense has managed to look good, but I think we lose all those games anyway. So it's one of those things where I agree. I mean, tonight, at least, we did see some good corner defense from both Durbin and Contreras, who's really one of the better defenders on the team at this point. I never thought I'd say that about a first baseman. When I heard everybody telling me, oh, no, you don't understand that Contreras is good, I was like, okay, he's good by first baseman standards. I wasn't expecting him to be, quite as athletic as he's been.
Yeah, he's very good, yeah.
But, I mean, at this point, you've got Durbin, who I'm willing to give some credit to defensively, although it's coin flip so far. He made that error the other night, pretty ugly. Myers great, Contreras is great, but in my mind, I'm just like, just don't hit it to our shortstop, please. Do not hit it to Trevor Story, man. And unfortunately, Alex Cora, he's made the comments, he's talked about it, he's justified his decision, he's committed to it, he's married to the man, and so you know, till death do them part, until Trevor Story's contract elapses, he is our starting shortstop, I'm afraid. Hopefully, the Red Sox can surprise us with something tomorrow. Otherwise, we're going to call it here. I think we've just about said everything there is to say. We'll see what the lineup card is tomorrow. That's something that I'm interested in seeing because, as you said, Charlie, I mean, it's different every day. Anthony presumably will be in there, which is good, but at what cost is going to be the question. This Leahy guy is a right-handed pitcher, so obviously you want both Duran and Yoshida to hit, which you can't do unless you bench Rafaela, who just hit a double today. So blah, blah, blah. It's more of the same. Thank you, everyone, for listening. We've been Nick, Doug, and Charlie of the Bastards of Boston Baseball. Chat's been very active tonight. If you're not following us on YouTube, where we do live stream the games, or not the games, but the post-game show, both here and on Twitter, feel free to give us a follow. Come chat during the live show. I do read everything that goes by in chat, even though I don't always respond to it. I always like to say that just so no one feels like, they're screaming into the void. And it's been extremely active this season on YouTube. The channel's really grown towards the end of last year and in the offseason. That's been really cool to see. Otherwise, we do post these podcasts, of course, anywhere there is to listen to podcasts. So if you are following us on YouTube by chance and not on Spotify or Apple, feel free to do that too. Otherwise, we'll be signing off, and hopefully the Boston Red Sox don't cause us to lose our voices in the rest of this season. Take care, everyone.